All right, today's a pretty momentous occasion. We're going to open this facility soon. We're going to do a ribbon cutting here for it today. Talked to Chief a little bit earlier, and he reminded me that when we received this CARES money back in the spring, we had met and started going over some of the things that we could do. Well, it was sometime in the middle to late spring, April, May, somewhere in there, that I got a call from one of our Osage Early Learning Academies there in Fairfax, and then another one down in Hominy, and they told me they couldn't get any meat. The supply chain had been disrupted because of the whole COVID-19 thing, so the supplies and stuff weren't running like normal, and so we couldn't hardly find any meat for our kids. So if it was affecting our children, then it was going to start affecting our elders. So that was one of the things that brought us to thinking about, okay, well, if that happens and then meat prices go through the roof, how are we going to take care of all of our folks? Again, the kids there at the early learning academies and up there at Elder Nutrition, how are we going to take care of them? And then all of our people scattered throughout Osage County. Because getting meat processed was a 2-year ordeal at that point. You couldn't get a cow in to get processed for about 2 years. So that's one of the reasons, well, those are the main reasons that we said, okay, we need some kind of food security for our folks. And so that's the start of this.
At the grocery stores, where the tissue paper would be, empty shelves. These are sites that we, in my generation and younger, had never seen before. Fortunately, there was some help in the form of these stimulus monies, and we plugged it in to a plan that we had been looking for development for several years. And in fact, it was this week, 60 months ago, when 5 years ago, just 60 months ago, not long, when we found out that that ranch was coming up for sale. And Assistant Chief Redcorn and I, we were on the phone every day through Christmas. It was the 23rd of December, through this time period 5 years ago, getting things ready to present to the Osage Congress, which we did in January. And in that short time, it was approved. And so when Casey told me about this shortage of meat, there was no meat for our children in our programs, I said, what are you talking about? Like a little over 5 miles from here, we've got 43,000 acres of land, and we've got several thousand cattle and some bison. We have 100 bison. And we can't use that. We have to go through the USDA certified process. There's a lot of rules when you put food into what they call the stream of commerce. And we got busy with that. And the first thing we did, as this shows leadership, we found people that were smarter than us that worked for us, and they responded. And that would be James Wygant, Jan Heyman, Andrea Kimball, all the employees that formed the task force, and they grabbed hold of this situation. And then they found top-notch contractors. They found contractors that had experience in putting projects together quickly and through the rules that we have in place. Not only our rules, but the federal rules. And they've done a magnificent job. We have come in just a few short months from not having anything like this in our plans to what we're going to see today. And I congratulate those members of our Osage Nation Task Force, the contractors, and the Osage Congress will be right there with us as we go through developing the methodologies, the deliveries, the marketing. There's handbooks that I've seen, and I'm not going to pretend to understand them, about all the procedures that are engaged in this operation. And it's a lot. It's very complex, and it's a very serious job. The results will speak for themselves. We all support what's going on here. We're going to make sure we have plenty of meat for our people. We're taking care of ourselves. And we must not forget, we're going to take care of our neighbors. I've talked to the Pawnee Nation across the way. They call him President over there, President Echo Hawk. We're going to keep a good alliance there. When they have cattle over here, if they want to come over this way, we're going to welcome them. The Kaw Nation, Ken Belmard is here, director of their economic development. Same thing there. The other tribes, we want to reach out, and then our neighbors here that are not tribal, the local community here. We'll do the best we can. We're going to take care of our Osage people first, our Osage families, not only here with the meat, but with what we are producing at the farm, which most of you saw last week. We have a long way to go. This is hard work. Farming, processing is hard work. And people that work here are going to be paid well, and they're going to work hard for us, and we all support them. I really am grateful to everyone, Casey, your whole team, everybody that was here and involved, and I look forward to seeing this in the future. We can look back and say we were there, we went forward, we're taking care of each other, which is what sovereignty is all about, isn't it? Taking care of each other. Thank you.
Everyone, I appreciate Chief and your administration, Mr. Johnson, and everyone for being here with us today. If my members of Congress would like to join me, I'd like for you to come up with me. I'm speaking on behalf of the Osage Nation Congress today. Thank you, Chief, for your words. And I was thinking a lot while you were talking and saying, and you ended with, we can say we were there. And that's something that I'm really proud of in having gone through what we did with the ranch. And as we continue to say that's some of the best work that our branches have done together to date since I've been with the Congress. And that was an exciting time for us to have such a wonderful gift we were able to get back for our people. And as we continue with this meat processing plant. And so I just wanted to say, I have, I've said this before, paid a lot of attention since COVID came, and it's been, dark times upon us right now. We're losing tribal members and family members of our tribal members and other people throughout Indian country that we have relationships with from other tribes. And it's a sad time for, our country and our community and our Indian community. And so, our prayers are with you, our thoughts, my colleagues and I, we continue to think about all of that. But we just want to say that we are proud of the Osage Nation. We are proud of the work that you've done. Food sovereignty, being the people that we are and having produced our own food. It is an exciting time to be able to continue and move forward with food sovereignty and be able to, as we learn more about our people and our health and how to provide better for our people for our future health. I'm really proud that we are able to do that for our people, but we can't do that. We get to be the speakers at these events, but I'm certainly not the worker of these events. And so it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of teamwork, and having been a wildland firefighter and in the military, I love teamwork. I love camaraderie. And when people gather together and work hard together for the good for a common goal and the good of their people. So I want to take a moment to thank the task force, and I would just want to say I see a couple of cameras here, so I want to make sure that we get their name out for the members. I believe the Osage Congress did a resolution, ONCR, I better not guess, but it's maybe 2032, but we did a resolution of Congress sponsored by Second Speaker Jody Rebard, and the individuals were named from the coronavirus task force, and I applaud Chief and his actions early on in seeding a task force and preparing for our future. When the CARES money came along, I did also participate in weekly COVID-19 White House calls, and I specifically, as Chief stated before, I specifically asked about this because there was a lot of worry in, spending these monies, because that's a lot of money to give to tribes with maybe 3 or 4 bullet points, and then saying if you don't get it right, you could have to pay it back. That was scary to me. And we were like, what's going on here? So I think that everyone worked really hard to be together on this. And so I just want to thank your coronavirus task force, Chief. And I want to say thank you to James Wygant, Andrea Campbell, Addie Hudgens, Amber Price, Amy Easley, Angela Toynita, Arlandra Gray, Ashley Walker, Bill Fenton, Candy Carr, Karen Littlecook, Chelsea Hendricks, Chris Standing Bear, Daisy Spicer, Ed Zahn, Edward Eli Redigal, Aaron Casus, Jamie Clark, Jan Heyman, Jason George, Jennifer Oberly, Justin Carr, Kelsey Cheeves, Kelsey Zahn, Kurt Shaw, Lauren Malone, Linda Arnold, Mark Kirk, Michael Kidder, Nakia Parker, Patricia Bighart, Penny Bradford, Samantha Renfro, Sarah Oberly, Susan Bayrow, Tim Lookout, Van Bighorst, and William Mitchell. So I just wanted to say thank you. I would like to give them a round of applause to those members of the Osage Nation executive branch, the employees, and to say thank you for all of the work that you did in working to do your best for our people. And I believe that, I want to say, tell me if I'm wrong, James, but Dan Heyman is the chair, and Jason George and Justin Carr specifically worked on the meat processing plant. So again, we want to say congratulations to everyone, all the Tribal Works. I know I'm going to leave some people out, but I want to say a specific thank you to the Tribal Development Department, and I would imagine the Roads Department. It always comes in and kind of helps out on these programs, and the designer and the construction company on this so that this could happen for our people today. So on behalf of the Osage Nation Congress, we want to say congratulations and thank you very much.
I know the next few speakers are probably getting tired of being talked about. They're pretty humble folks, right? But I'm just going to pile on like what Chief said, what the speaker said. The crew that did this did an outstanding job. I mean, I was an infantryman for 23 years. You tell us to do something, okay, and it got done. But that's a whole different world. There are punishments that happen if you don't get it done immediately, right? So I was kind of unsure because this was a job that I'm like, good Lord, we only have 6 months. I don't know if we can do it. But I got James, I got Jan, got a hold of Steve Wright, and Ross, Tolley, and Silas said, hey, we've got X amount of dollars to build these facilities. You got till December 30th. Can you do it? This was in June. And they all kind of looked at me like I was nuts. And then they said, yeah, we can do it. And here it is. So these guys are outstanding folks. hard workers. I can't thank them enough. None of us can thank them enough. Having said all that, James, this is the task force commander, James Wygant.
In my remarks last week at the Harvest Land, I told how the COVID task force was formed by Chief Standing Bearer and how this group of amazing individuals developed a course of action to rapidly address the needs of the Osage people. We were able to see past the chaos of the pandemic and find a solid response plan that could be put into place quickly and responsibly. This approach had 4 elements. One was direct response towards people's medical and financial needs. Another was information technology to concentrate on the new normal of remote work, remote education, and remote services. Another was outreach to our other branches of governments and entities. And finally, our food security program, why we're here today. The obvious priority in this 4-step plan was our direct response. We gave the Osage Health Center, Tribal Works, and Emergency Management the materials to respond to, prepare for, and prevent COVID-19. This also provided desperately needed financial relief to individual Osages and Osage-owned businesses around the country. This direct response plan was rightfully our main concern. A very close second priority in the COVID response was food security. The pandemic quickly and dreadfully amplified our food desert difficulties. An outbreak of COVID in a packing plant in Omaha or Chicago would cause a break in the food supply chain that rippled across the entire country. These breakdowns hit hardest in food insecure areas like Osage County. Not only did meat become unavailable or unaffordable for individual Osages, programs like our elder nutrition and schools faced the same problems. Osage County is some of the finest stock grazing country around, and we own 43,000 acres of it at our Osage Nation ranch. Our cattle and bison thrive out there. We had the first links of a food supply chain staring right at us. CARES Act funding then allowed us to create the next link. At the Osage Nation ranch, we built miles of fence to protect our herds. We bought additional cattle and bison to serve as inputs for this processing plant, to bolster our food supply and help with sustainability. Equipment and facilities were then procured to get these animals finished and ready to process, ready to nourish our people. And then came the final link, this amazing processing plant right behind us here today. Osage beef on Osage ground will now be delivered to Osage dining tables. All of this to get us through this pandemic today and then remain a source of pride for years and years to come. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jan Heyman. I'm director for the Osage Nation Department of Natural Resources. And I first of all just can't thank everybody enough, all of the elected officials, executive staff, and all the other staff with the Osage Nation that helped make this happen. It was every one of us. We put so much work into this, and the amount of relationships that were built is going, in my opinion, going to last for many years. And we worked closely with the Osage Nation Ranch, like I said, all the other departments and consultants and people that were just interested and supportive of these endeavors, both with the farm and the meat facility. So I think we're better people because of this. And I think every Osage, as an employee and just an Osage person, can be proud of this facility because it's going to do so much good for the community, both Osage and everyone else, and for other tribal nations. I'm blessed to be part of it, and like I said, I'm just very grateful for this opportunity and to be trusted both with myself and my staff to be a part of this. I'm grateful for the COVID task force that made this happen, and we're just really thankful for this. And thank you again for everybody who supported this, both Osage employees, elected officials, and the Osage people. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ross Smith. Our Tribal Development Department is basically for the purpose of building buildings like this. It's generally we go through a lengthy process in order to do this. It's not something we do generally in 6 months. Normally it takes about 2 years. We usually work with our architects and engineers for that period of time, plan, because doing a project like this is not an easy task. There's tons and tons of things that we have to go through in order to make sure that things come out right. One of the processes we have is when we're building something comes up, something always does, we have a change order. Well, that change order goes, and it goes to the architects and engineers. They review it, see what everything's going, get back to us and say, okay, you do it this way. Well, we didn't have time to do it this time. We had a 6-month project we had to get completed fast. So we had to work hand in hand with architects and engineers. That's Wallace and Blue River and Builders Unlimited, our contractor. And we had to make decisions on the spot. That's the only way this process got done. It is a state-of-the-art facility. You're not going to see something like this. Even though it was done in 6 months, it was not done cheaply, and it was done very professionally, and you're not going to find a plant that's like this. It's a very state-of-the-art. The process that Builders Unlimited and us went through to do this was really very time-consuming. We spent nights, weekends, long hours on the phone to get the equipment here. It doesn't seem like it's that tough, but during the pandemic, everything was shut down. So in order to get stuff here, it was very, very difficult. But we got it done. We have something we can be very proud of, and the Osage people can be very proud of. Thank you.
When all this happened, like I said, I made a couple phone calls. The chief had declared this an emergency, so some of the rules that apply in a normal situation didn't apply this time. I told Chief, hey, I know a couple guys. Let me call them and see if this can get done. So I called Lance Woolsey there at Wallace Engineering, and I called Steve Wright at BUI and said, hey guys, this has got to get done. I need your help. They're good friends of the nation. They've done a lot of work for us. I trust them. So that's who we called. They got on it. Just to give you a little hint of their dedication, we were here, Jeannie and I, my assistant, were here last week, and I think on Wednesday, just checking on last minute stuff. Steve was here, and he was getting ready to run to Tulsa to get some stuff. He was going over with Ross what his schedule was. He and his guys worked on Christmas Eve. They had guys in here Christmas Day, and he brought in a professional cleaning crew on Saturday and Sunday, the 26th and 27th, because he wanted this place to look nice for everybody here today. That's how dedicated these individuals are. So with having said all that, Steve, I'd like to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Casey. I'm Steve. I'm with Builders Unlimited, and I was the superintendent and project manager over this project, the aquaponics in the greenhouse. As Casey mentioned earlier, when approached by Casey earlier in June to discuss these projects, I knew it would be a challenge to get the design and the construction in a completed time period of 6 months on a 21,000 square foot facility, and then we have a 43,000 square foot greenhouse and 44,000 square foot aquaponics at Pawhuska. As a contractor myself and in business for over 30 years, building these facilities of this magnitude is something that is the first in my lifetime. I was a dedicated part of these facilities. I was actually physically on site from day one as we started and came out of the ground. I knew early on the vision of the Osage Nation. I seen what the plan was and what the vision was for these projects, for their people, for the local communities, and for the region. As a farmer myself, I also knew the challenges of getting cattle in. And when I seen this coming about, it was a huge relief on my part as well. This facility alone will provide everything on large scale as far as processing. It has a capacity to store large quantities of meat in bulk. It also has a capacity to provide processing on a large scale of both bison, cattle, and hogs. Seasonal deer processing to help as well. It also has a facility within itself that will provide retail sales, smoked and packaged products in the future, such as Slim Jims, Osage branded products of that sort. It was an honor to have been a part of this project and the vision that I know will provide many opportunities at all levels for many years to come. I want to say that it was a super honor to be a part of the task force, to be a part of the team, to bring on Blue River, Wallace Engineering, CRB out of Kansas City. To start and finish a project of this magnitude in 6 months was just something that will go in the charts on my book. And I'm just so thankful and grateful to have been that. And I thank you very much.
All right.